cells. That's like you, dear. What will we get? Exclaimed Joe. Everyone thought severely for a minute. Then Meg announced as if the idea was suggested by the sight of her own pretty hands. I shall give her a nice pair of gloves. Army shoes, best to be had, cried Joe. Some handkerchiefs, all hemmed, said Beth. I'll get a little bottle of colony. Colony, she likes it, and it won't cost much. So I'll have some left to buy something for me, added Amy. So let me highlight this one, and I think this one too needed to be highlighted, and another word that I think I don't know how to pronounce it correctly, maybe severely. Yeah, she likes it and it won't cost much, so I'll have some left to buy something for me, added Amy. How will we give the things? Asked Meg. Put them on the table and bring her in and see her open the bundles. Don't you remember how we used to do on our birthdays? Answered Joe. I used to be frightened. I used to be so frightened when it was my turn to sit in the chair with the crown on and see you all come marching round to give the presents with a kiss. I like the things and the kisses, but it was dreadful to have you sit looking at me while I opened the bundles, said Beth, who was toasting her face and the bread for tea at the same time. Let me, Mommy think we are getting things for ourselves and then surprise her. We must go shopping tomorrow afternoon, Meg. There is so much to do about the play for Christmas night, said Jo, marching up and down with her hands behind her back and her nose in the air. I don't mean to act any more after this time. I'm getting too old for such things, observed Meg, who was as much a child as ever about dressing up frolics, frolics, frolics. You won't stop, I know, as long as you can trail round in a white gown with your hair down and wear gold paper jewelry. You are the best actress we've got, and there'll be an end of everything if you quit the boards, said Jo. We ought to rehearse tonight. Come here, Amy, and do the fainting scene, for you are as stiff as a poker in that. I can't help it. I never saw anyone faint, and I don't choose to make myself all black and blue, tumbling flat as you do. If I can do down easily, I'll drop. If I can't, I shall fall into a chair and be graceful. I don't care if Hugo does come at me with a pistol, returned Amy, who was not gifted with dramatic power, but was chosen because she was small enough to be born out shrieking by the villain of the piece. Do it this way. Clasp your hands so and stagger across the room, crying frantically, Rodrigo, save me, and away went Jo with a melodramatic scream which was truly thrilling. Let me highlight a word. This one, stagger. Amy followed, but she poked her hands out stiffly before her and jerked herself herself along as if she went by machinery, and her awe of pens being run into her then of fear and anguish. Joe gave a despairing groan, and Meg laughed outright, while Beth let her brain burn as she watched the fun with interest. It is not use. Do the best you can when the time comes. And if the audience laughs, don't blame me. Come on, Meg. Then things were chanted an awful incantation over her kettleful of smearing towards. Okay, this one is a bit struggled. Towards, not towards, to toads, with weird effect. Rodrigo rent his chains asunder. Wow, an old English, mainly, and Hugo died in agonies. I think agonies. You can write and act such splendid things. Joe, splendid things, Joe. You are a regular Shakespeare, exclaimed Beth, who firmly believed that her sisters were gifted with wonderful genius in all things. Not quite, replied Joe modestly. I do think the witch's curse an operatic tragedy is rather a nice thing, but I'd like to try Macbeth. If we only had a trapdoor of for Banquo, I always wanted to do the killing part. Is that a dagger I see before me? Muttered Jo, rolling her eyes and clutching at the air, as she had seen a famous tragedian do. Wow. No, it's the toasting fork with Mother's shoe on it instead of the bread. Beth's stage struck, cried Meg, and the rehearsal ended in a general burst of laughter. Let me highlight this one. Glad to find you, so merry, my girls, said a cheery voice at the door, and actors and audience turned to welcome a tall, motherly lady with a can I help you look about her, which was truly delightfully handsome person. Mothers are always lovely to their children, and the girls thought the grey cloak and unfashionable bonnet covered the most splendid women in the world. Well, dearies, how have you got on today? How have you got on today? There was so much to do to dinner. Has anyone called Beth? How's your Joe, you looked tired to death. Come. While making these maternal inquiries, Mrs. March got her wet things off. Her warm slippers on Amy to her lap, watching quiet and busy, while Amy gave directions. Let me highlight this one. Directions to everyone as she sat with her hands folded. As I've got a treat for you after her hands, regardless of the hot biscuit she held, and Jo tossed up her napkin, crying, a letter, 3 cheers, for father. Yes, a nice long letter. He is well, and thinks he shall get through the cold season better than we feared. He sends all sorts of loving wishes for Christmas, and an especial message to you, girl. to you girls," said Mrs. March, patting her pocket as if she had got a treasure there. "Hurry and get done. Don't stop to quirk your little finger and simper over your plate, Amy." "Let me highlight this one," cried Jo, choking in her tea and dropping her bread butter side down on the carpet in her haste to get at the treat. Beth ate no more, but crept away to sit in her shadowy corner and brood over the delight to come, till the others were ready. Let me see how many minutes. 12. It's still. "I think it was so splendid of father to go as chaplain. Chaplain, when he was too old to be drafted, and not strong enough for a soldier," said Meg warmly. "Don't I wish I could go as a drummer, a thieving, what's its name, or a nurse, so I could be near him and help him," exclaimed Jo, with a groan. "It must be very disagreeable to sleep in a tent and eat all sorts of bad tasting things and drink out of a tin mug," sighed Amy. When will he come home, Mommy?" asked Beth, with a little quiver in her voice. "Not for many months, dear, unless he is sick. He will stay and do his work faithfully as long as he can, and we won't ask for him back a minute sooner than he can be spared. Now come and hear the letter. Let me highlight a word that I don't know its meaning. I think this one." They all drew to the fire, Mother in the big chair with Beth at her feet, Meg and Amy perched on either arm of the chair, and Jo leaning on the back, where no one would see any sign of emotion if the letter should happen to be touching. Very few letters were written in those hard times that were not touching, especially those which fathers sent home. And this one little was said of the hardships endured, the dangers faced, or the homesickness conquered. It was a cheerful, hopeful letter, full of lively descriptions of camp life, marches, and military news, and only at the end did the writer's heart overflow with fatherly love and longing for the little girls at home. "Give them all my dear love and a kiss. Tell them I think of them by day, pray for them by night, and find my best comfort in their affection at all times. A year seems very long to wait before I see them, but remind them that while we wait we may all work, so that these hard days need not be wasted. I know they will remember all I said to them, that they will be loving children to you, will do their duty faithfully, fight their bosom enemies bravely, and conquer themselves so beautifully that when I come back to them I may be fonder and prouder than ever of my little women." Hide her face on her mother's shoulder and sobbed out, "I am a selfish girl, but I'll truly try to be a better, so he mayn't be disappointed in me by and by." "We all will," cried Meg. "I think too much of my look and hate to work, but won't any more if I can help it. I'll try and be what he loves to call me, a little woman, and not be rough and wild, but do my duty here instead of wanting to be somewhere else," said Jo, thinking that keeping her temper at home was a much harder task than facing a rebel or two down south. Beth said nothing, but wiped away her tears with the blue army sock and began to knit with all her might, losing no time in doing the duty that lay nearest her, while she resolved in her quiet little soul to be all that father hoped to find her when the year brought around the happy coming home. Mrs. March broke the silence that followed Joe's words by saying in her cheery voice, "Do you remember how you used to play Pilgrim's Progress when you were little things? Nothing delighted you more than to have me tie my piece bags on your backs for burdens, give you hats and sticks and rolls of paper, and let you travel through the house from the cellar, which was the city of distraction, up to the house top, where you had all the lovely things you could collect to make a celestial city. What fun it was, especially going by the lions fighting Apollyon, said Joe. Hobgoblins were, said Joe. I like the place where the bundles fell off, and my favorite part was when we came out on the flat roof where our flowers and arbors and pretty things were, and all stood and sang for joy up there in the sunshine, said Beth, smiling as if that pleasant moment had come back to her. I don't remember much about it, except that I was afraid of the cellar and the dark entry, and always liked the cake and milk we had up at the top. If I was too old for such things, I'd rather like to be. Oh my word! I'd rather like to play it over again," said Amy, who began to talk of renouncing childish things at the mature age of 12. "We never are too old for this, my dear, because it is a play we are playing all the time in one way or another. Our burdens are here, our road is before us, and the longing for goodness and happiness is the guide that leads us through many troubles and mistakes to the peace which is a true celestial city. Now, my little pilgrims, suppose you begin again, not in play, but in earnest, and see how far on you can get before father comes home." "Really, mother? Really, mother? Where are our bundles? Where are our bundles?" asked Amy, who was a very little young lady. Each of you told what your burden was just now, except Beth. I rather think she hasn't got any," said her mother. "Yes, I have. Mine is dishes and dusters and envying girls with nice pianos and being afraid of people. Beth's bundle was such a funny one that everybody wanted to laugh, but nobody did, for it would have hurt her feelings very much. "Let us do it," said Meg, thoughtfully. "It is only another name for trying to be good, and the story may help us, for though we do want to be good, it is hard work, and we forget and don't do our best." I think I'm going to stop for today.